Okay, so we will get started. Thank you, everybody. Huge turnout today, which as usually happens right after BBCon. So we are talking about fundraising automations, one of our most popular webinars of the year. Today we're doing it's pure demo. So I'm going to explain who we are if we've never met before. I know we've got lots of familiar names and now faces on this. We met a lot of people face to face for the first time at the conference last week. So I'll walk through who we are, and then Stacy and Austen are going to share a ton of really cool examples of automation that will blow your mind, and you're going to say, "Oh my gosh, I want all of this stuff." So we're going to explain how it works. We're going to show what other clients are doing. We'll talk about how you can get started, all sorts of good stuff. For housekeeping, Stacy, keep me honest. I always forget. So we are recording this. We will send out the slides and the recording to you probably by, I'm going to say tomorrow morning, and then maybe we get it earlier, but probably not. These things take a little while on the back end, but we'll get the video. We'll send it out to you tomorrow with all the links and anything else that we mentioned. If you have questions, and you will have questions, or if you just want to share little emojis of your mind being blown, emojis go in the chat, questions put in the Q&A. So find the button that says Q&A, because then it serves us up to us and the panelists. We can all see your questions. Austin will probably answer you either by typing or we'll cover it live. And even if we don't get to it live, we will follow up. Austin will follow up, make sure any question you have gets answered. So I think that's all of the normal housekeeping stuff. If you have questions, just ping us in the chat, or questions about content, hit that Q&A button. Okay. Without further ado, PSG, that is us. We have been doing this for a long time, 7.5, almost 8 years now. We are a fundraising consulting firm. We run multi-million-dollar appeals for a whole lot of really big organizations. We also got involved in Razor's Edge database administration because all of our clients use Razor's Edge. Eventually, they just ran out of people like Stacy and Austen and Rob who can run a big, complex Razor's Edge database. So they started hiring us just to run the Razor's Edge for them. We are now quietly behind the scenes the largest user of Razor's Edge on earth. We manage millions of records. Okay. So when we host webinars and we train people and we talk about all the new developments, we are coming to you from a point of view of someone who's using this product day in, day out. Okay. So if you're watching this webinar and your organization, your college, university, hospital, foundation, high school uses Razor's Edge, we do too. We live in it. That is where all of our expertise comes from. Today, though, we're talking about something extra special and cool, which is fundraising automation. Okay. This is something we got involved in maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Stacy and Austen were among the very first people to dive into this. When Razor's Edge opened up a connection that we had an API and we could start to mess around with automation, we jumped in headfirst and we just started building things for our clients. And we thought that's all it would ever be, right? We have a bunch of clients, they're paying us a lot of money to raise millions of dollars. We can help automate some things and they love it. It turns out they loved it so much, they started telling their friends about it. And we started getting calls from organizations that are saying, "Hey, can you help us build some automations for our organization," right? Field Museum in Chicago, tons of giant children's, we have a real niche with children's museums. Knox College, Arch LA, tons of dioceses, I think 30 or 40 dioceses. Northwest Kidney Center, Need More Children's Health. All these big organizations heard about our Razor's Edge expertise, specifically heard about the amazing automation stuff we're doing, and they said, "We want some of that." So we spun up a whole division. So when you hear about AutomateGenius, that's what this is, right? This is Stacy and Austen lead a team of, I think, 9 now that build automations for our clients. It's so much fun. Stacy, it's probably the most rewarding thing, right? Like consulting is great, but like automation, you see the light go back on in their eyes, right?
Right? It gives people a chance to have the computer do some boring things so the staff can do things that require humans to think and problem solve and all of that. So I love it. I love saving people the tedious work.
It's awesome. And so this is the most fun side of PSG. So AutomateGenius, we're going to walk through a ton of examples. And we do talk fast. So if you attended us at BBCon, you know, Stacy and I specifically, we talk really fast, but we're recording this so you can like slow it down. But we're going to get through a bunch because I want you to see 7 things today that you're like, "Oh my goodness, I cannot live without that." Like, let's talk more about it. Okay. And we're going to break the automations down into a couple different areas. But first, I just want to have our clients vouch for us that this is amazing, right? So, oh, that's an actual quote. So Sandra at Knox College, amazing. Maya, our good friend, Wake Tech, automation early on, says incredible. My favorite one is Colin and Maggie. We asked our clients, a couple of them, as you can see here, for headshots ahead of the Blackbaud conference, and Colin just crushed it, right? Like just hit it out of the park. He delivered the best headshot I've ever seen. Tons of love at the booth for that. Just comment on ROI. Our good friend Jalinda at Indianapolis, time saver. That is how you should see automation, right? All of those things. It's amazing. It's a time saver. It's gonna help you raise more money. We're very, very proud of it. What your reaction should look like after this? You might be in this photo. This was taken last week when Stacy and Austen talk. Look at the reactions from the crowd as they're talking about automation. This is what your face should look like. If we've done our job, about 35 minutes from now, you should be absolutely dumbstruck at how amazing all this stuff is. So thank you for everybody playing along in that photo. All right. What is fundraising automation? I use this example all the time because it is the best example. It is a book called The Shoemaker and the Elves. That is your frame of reference for automation. The background of the story was that you had someone who had limited staff, right? And he was overworked. The shoemaker couldn't ever catch up. He was stymied by a very inefficient system. He was burdened, he was burnt out, he was about to give up. And so what did he do? He just left everything. He really did. He gave up and he went to bed. But that night, some elves came along and they did his work for him. That is what automation is. And in this case, Stacy and Austen are your elves. Automation does the work for you. That period, full stop, that is its best use. And ideally, it's the grunt work, right? It's the monotonous work. It's all the clicks that you shouldn't have to do in the year 2025 in order to run a good development office. That is how you should look at automation. And we've broken it down into two groups, right? There are automations that will raise you more money, and there are automations that will make you stop hating life again, right? So, like, if you've been a DBA long enough, you get a little gristled, right? Like, I mean, just the amount of stuff, like just trying to keep ahead of the reports that you're asked for, getting acknowledgement letters out, right? Keeping the data clean, importing data from a bunch of different systems. So we have automations to fit both personalities. You've got the frontline fundraisers, the major gift officers, spend all day just smiling with their feet on the desk, raising money. And you've got the real workers in the background. We have automations for both of you, okay? So look for these. If you are a DBA or work on the operation side of your organization, we're going to talk about data cleanup, talk about automating reports. Gift acknowledgments is a huge one. Auto tagging donors is something really cool that if you know, you know. Data import matching, year-end tax letters, that's all the stuff we're going to talk through for you. If you're on the other side, if you're a fundraiser or if you're the VP in charge of all of advancement, you have to worry about raising more money each year. You're going to be interested in the daily summaries that we can do, alerts, reminders, the chaser emails going back and having touch points with Libunts and Cybunts. Heartfelt emails is the biggest one. So drafting emails for you to send to a donor on their birthday or when they complete a pledge or when they just signed up for a recurring gift or when you haven't heard from them in a while. All of that can be served up on a platter for you. Portfolio management, we'll share samples there too. Okay, so that's the frame of reference for today. We're going to walk through a ton of automations. We're going to demo how it all works. Stacy and Austen are going to do a speed run through this all with me. If you have questions as we go, hit the Q&A button. Stacy, let's start at the very beginning, right? Simplest, most straightforward thing in the world, instant alerts. Tell us, what is this automation and how can you use it?
So this basically gets your gift data or action data or whatever you're thinking about out of your Razor's Edge and over to wherever your staff is working. So we can put it in Teams or Slack. We can send you an email. So that saves, especially if you have people that are resistant to logging into Razor's Edge first thing in the morning, this puts the important things right directly where they are.
And that important thing for you might be like you're having an event and you just want, hey, we have a channel for event RSVPs. Anytime somebody RSVPs, pop them in here, give me a link to their constituent. And then if I'm in charge of like seating assignments, I'm going to put a little thumbs up on it to show that I'm on it, right? Is that a normal example?
Yep.
Okay, so we can do that in Teams. We can do that in Slack. You can also do this through email, right? So if your organization does not use a chat function, most do these days, but if you don't, you're on good old email, you can do that. And we often call it a digest, right? So you want a daily summary. Stacy, talk us through this one. This is about memberships. What's the use case here?
So this is memberships that are expiring in 1 month. This goes to the membership manager who then knows who's coming up for renewal and says, oh, I just saw Terry in the museum yesterday, I better call her, or, oh, I know she's going to renew next week because I just talked to her, those kinds of things, so that you're on top of things without having to go run queries. This just tells you who your people are that you need to worry about today.
And this is the sort of thing, one way to look at it, it makes Razor's Edge work the way that your boss probably thinks that it works, right? when the VP of a university is like, hey, just click that button to send me an email every day with, XYZ thing. Like, it's most often when you get that request, it's impossible to do, right, Stacy? Without like pulling a report, building something out. Like automation lets you do that in a way that we just assume everything works. You can just tell it what you want to have happen and have it happen. So simple digests, simple notifications, alerts, RSVPs, pledges that just got completed. When somebody's membership is up, you can probably think of 100 other use cases as you're sitting here on the call that fit your organization. Maybe you're a college university and you want to know when an alumni with a certain giving history registers for an event or is going to ask for basketball tickets, whatever it might be. Simple, straightforward stuff, great use of automation. Naturally, and we're just going to build and get more complex here. So as soon as we started building these things for our clients and then increasingly other customers, right, that we weren't running fundraising campaigns for, they just wanted automation help. As soon as we started doing these, they're like, hey, this is awesome. Could you link that email to an action? So Stacy, what are we talking about here?
So as we're finding those things to send to you in these notifications, we can also create an action in Razor's Edge, either marked complete or not, and send you a link to that too. So if the call to action is, this gift came in, you need to make a phone call, we can send you an email that says that, and then you click on that link and come in here and type your notes from the call and mark your action complete. So a lot of the things are filled in for you, and you really have only 2 or 3 clicks and a little typing to get your action logged rather than having to find the constituent and create an action and choose all the 10 things and all of that. So saves a bunch of time for the gift officer.
It sounds, Stacy, like you might be building something for a certain type of person who maybe doesn't live inside a Razor's Edge, right? Who needs an email, right, to prompt them to make things a little bit easier. Is that fair?
Yep.
Yeah. So all the stuff you can do with this, and that in many ways, the hard part about our job is that you can do anything. You're sitting here watching this, like you really, if you can dream it up, almost certainly we can build an automation for it. So it's trying to like narrow down, like prioritize what are the most impactful. What we've seen clients do, alerts when there's a first-time donor, complete no-brainer. You could send a note to a department head about a restricted gift to the area, right? If you're at a college or university, or you're at a hospital and somebody makes a gift to the cardiac unit, right? And you just automatically want to send an alert to the person over there, right? Nudge a major gift officer that a task is coming due. Maybe they didn't write in their call notes. You might have the only major gift officer in the world that doesn't rush and type in all their notes right away, after a visit. One that I love, prompt you to assign someone to a portfolio. This is something that automation is so good at. If you use portfolios, right? You have gift officers and they're assigned to people. Usually maybe once a year, you're looking at who's in that portfolio. That's crazy, right? That should be dynamic. If somebody makes a gift of a certain level, you should automatically get an alert. Hey, this person made a donation and it's big enough. We need to get them into a portfolio. And you can either automate, like drop them in, or you can just send an alert to the person in charge of that. That is a fantastic use of automation. Okay. And then what Stacy was talking about before, we can even put more and more into the email itself. So don't live in a world where you expect everybody to go in, log into Razor's Edge and spend 8 hours a day inside there. It's just not reality. But you can live in a world where people get an email like this that says, hey, here's your update of people in your portfolio. We received gifts from these 2 people. Here's a couple actions that are due, and I'm going to serve it up on a platter for you and give you their email, right? So don't forget to do these follow-ups. Okay. This would have been a dream for me, right, when I'm working as a frontline fundraiser. So still kind of in the basics of automation. What happened next really opened it up. And this is when the phone started ringing and really hasn't stopped. It was when customers that were doing these automations said, hey, this is amazing, right? Saving me a ton of time. It's fitting the way I work and live. Could you just go ahead and write the email for me, right? Like that note before said, hey, don't forget to follow up with the donor. PSG, can your, brilliant wizards, Austen and Stacy and everybody behind them, can you just develop something that writes that email? And that's what we did. Okay. And I want you to go here. So I'm going to give everybody a minute because if you've been to our webinars before, we love to teach, right? Anytime we learn something, we give it away for free, all the knowledge, right? We show people here's exactly how it works. So if you go to easy.automategenius, I'm sure Rob or somebody, oh, look at that. He's ahead of me. Even got the link there in the chat. Because when you go there, you're going to actually get the template of what we send out for our customers. So you can see exactly how it works. So you can go there, you can put in your name and email, which we already have obviously here at the webinar, but put it in so they can send you the note. I do recommend only click on one of these for now. So Menke, you know what I'm talking about here. So this is We
Yeah.
built a whole lot on this. This is a very, it doesn't look like it. Behind the scenes, it's very complex. Um, if you click on, for instance, raise more money, you will get a certain set of emails. And just do one because I want you to absorb those 4 or 5 email samples. If you click all of them, I can't stop you, right? You know who you are because I'm going to see my email ding in a second. I can't stop you from clicking all of them, but the experience will be better if you click one because then you can really understand it and you're not going to get overwhelmed with 30 different emails. But again,
Yeah.
we like to
If
build in
you,
public. We like to share exactly how it works. So go to easy.automategenius, scan that QR code, highlight one or click one, and then in about 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to get a sample. Okay. And Menke, we built in that 2 to 3 minutes. I think the DBAs on the line will understand this probably as well as anyone. Like we built that in because we are working with this. So we use HubSpot in the background, right? So this is a big complicated workflow to build all of this. And if we didn't build in a buffer, then you start getting sample emails before you get the email sort of orientation, explaining what you're about to receive. So that was our elegant solution to say, hey, cool your jets for a minute, and then you're going to get something amazing in a couple minutes here.
yeah, if
Okay.
you click all the options, you'll get like 15 emails. So one at a time. You can
Well,
always go back, try out another one later. But yeah, that's why we put in that buffer time because we didn't want to just bombard you with tons and tons of emails. But
you're melting our
definitely
HubSpot.
worth checking out.
So okay, so you've gone there by now. We've given you time. You put in your name and email, and let's talk about what you get in your inbox. Right? It's gonna be something like this. And I have an older version. We have newer versions that you would have received if you filled it out. But picture yourself. You're a development director, right? You're a VP of advancement. You're a frontline fundraiser. You get this email in the morning. Here is your daily donor report, right? It's the digest, like what Stacy was talking about before. But now it comes with a little prompt. So Leslie Cooper here gave a gift above $1,000. You can click on this in the email that you just received because you went to that link. You can click on it and see what happens. And what happens is mind blowing. It drafts an email to Leslie from you, from your actual email. This is not an email that goes out from NXT email or constant contact with an unsubscribe link and looks like bulk mail. This is a heartfelt email from you, the real person, the major gift officer, the vice president, the data ops person, whoever it is in your organization. It is from you, from your Outlook, from your Gmail. You can edit it. It is a draft email that you can mess around with. You can say, oh, her name's Leslie, but I call her L or whatever it might be. You can do all of that. When it's perfect, you send it out. It took you about 30 seconds and it's out the door, right? So think of all the uses for this, and we don't have to think hard because we've been doing it now for 3 or 4 years. We can tell you how clients are using this for first-time donors, right? For milestone gifts, for chasing down live months. Stacy, we did this for a client in Denver that set up an automation flow for emailing live months, and they raised more than $100,000 just by automating these draft emails to go out to live months, right? So it's all very doable. It's crazy what you can do. Your wheels should be spinning right now as you look at this on all the things you could do. Think of if I could take my gift officers and serve up those emails for them on a platter, think how much we could do. And Stacy, what would it take like milestone? If I was at Creighton University and I wanted my people like, hey, I want to make sure every time somebody makes a 10th gift or a 25th gift or a 50th gift, I want them to get a note from a person. Like outside of automation, what would that even look like? Is that even doable?
Sort of. I mean, you could run a query every day that said, show me people with 10 gifts and a gift yesterday or something like that. And then you then you could export that somehow and send it to people and they would maybe ignore it, right? Like you would never do it. You would never do it.
They'd ignore it. They'd get a list. They say, I don't remember what I sent before. But like take 95% of that work and just do it. Like it's just served up on a platter. Like I love this so much. This is why people go crazy for automation. Like this specifically, if you're a frontline fundraiser, this is the big one, right? So much so that we've even bundled it. So what started is just, hey, we can craft emails for you. We had clients that say, hey, I want a suite, and I'll give one example. I'm not going to give a bunch. You can schedule a meeting with Mr. Menke there to talk through all of them. But let's just talk about recurring gifts, right? So I'm a large nonprofit. I have an okay recurring gift program. I want it to be better. Think of the emails and the automation that you can do. So a daily digest, give me a status of my recurring gift program. So here's a daily report. I get it every day. Successful payments, great. Oh my goodness, there was a failed payment in there. Okay. You know what would be really nice every time there's a failed payment was one, me getting an email alert like this so I know. But two, let me click on that link and send a personal note to that donor. Again, not a robot note, not an unfeeling like, receipt of like transaction failed from a real person. Hey, Taylor, we saw that your most recurring gift didn't go through. Most of the time, it's just a credit card or something like that. Here's a link you can use, to update the payment. That is an incredible donor experience. That's a great stewardship touch. That is just one thing that we would do. If you're saying, I care deeply about recurring gifts, here's what we do in the bundle that we set up for you. Heartfelt emails drafted for your gift officers to send if it's in your portfolio, right? Notifications like what we just talked about if a payment didn't go through, so you know right away. Invitation emails to prospective recurring donors who should be on your radar, right? A weekly health summary so that you can always know when your boss says, hey, how's a recurring giving program going? Every week you get a little chart and you can see exactly how it's doing. So that's kind of where we are now in this, third or fourth year of doing automations, is really keying in on like, what is it you're looking to solve? How can we solve it? How can we use automation to make your life a little bit easier? Okay, let's talk about, so those are big ones, right? The heartfelt emails, Menke, probably the biggest thing that you get, day in, day out, people are interested in that.
It is. It's the big part of it is just that blank slate problem that a lot of people have. I was a gift officer in my former life. Um, Getting one email out was such a joy, and then like it took 30 minutes, so then it's like, oh, I'll get to the other ones later. This
Yeah.
is just handed to you on a plate. And you can get through as many as you can a day. People enjoy it. The donors enjoy it. We hear from our clients all the time about the responses they get. They see someone at the store later on. They're like, "Hey, so thank you so much for that email you sent earlier." It really does make a difference. One thing I'll point out too is those messages, those emails that you'll see the samples for, all of those are customizable. So you will have access to go in and make changes to those emails to sound like you, to sound like your voice. But again, it just takes away that's blank slate problem of give me the email, I'll send it, I'll make some adjustments, but I'll make sure to send it on a regular basis. So you really do build a relationship with your donors.
There's a, and we're going to talk about gift acknowledgments next, which is a big one. But one final point on this, we get asked all the time, like AI and everything else, like there's a huge philosophical discussion to have. We are firmly of the belief that the best route for your donors is us serving something up on a platter to make your life easier, but you, the human being, still having that connection with your donor, right? You are the one emailing them. We are not having a digital person just going wild and going ham emailing your donors. That is not going to end well, right? It will not end well. At some point they're going to say, oh, that was a worst case scenario is it goes really well and they say, oh, I got a great email from Ava, I want to meet her sometime, and then you say, oh, actually that's a chat bot, right? So we're not going to get into that a bunch here. We get asked, we'll have a presentation on AI and everything in the future, but for now, just think how much better your life would be if we would prompt it and serve everything up for you on a platter. All right, Austen, we haven't let you talk much so
No,
far.
you haven't.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
all
I know it.
Stacy.
I'm like halfway through. I'm like, this is crazy. I've given all of Stacy automations first. But this is probably, outside of the emails, this is the next biggest thing, right? So colleges, universities, let's talk about gift acknowledgments. What is the amazing stuff you're doing? Let's talk about NC Central, what you did for them.
Yeah, so the first thing we did was we talked to them about their existing process and what they hoped would be the end result out of the automation. So maybe some things that they weren't doing now that they wanted to see. And we mapped this all out in this super exciting flow chart, which is always a good process to go through, even if you're not automating things.
So they had a process, right? They're like, well,
Yes.
and they meant not, is it fair? I don't want to pick on this client. I'm sure they're a wonderful client, but anyone of size probably has a process they think is how it works. And then as you get into it, they're like, oh, wait, that's not how it works at all. Like, how do these letters get generated? It's an eye-opening thing, right? To map that all out.
Oh, definitely. Yes, between what lives in your DBA's head versus what the VP thinks is happening.
Right. And okay, so gifts above a certain amount go here, gifts to arts and sciences go different letterhead than the gifts to the athletics. Like, so, okay, how does this automation work? And then let's talk about the end result here, because it's going to be pretty nuts.
Yeah, so it looks at how the gift is coded and it makes a series of decisions. So based on gift size, it determines who signs the letter. Or even they have it, gifts to the radio station get signed by the radio station manager kind of thing.
Yep.
And then my favorite part is it looks for discrepancies. So some of the decisions you're making after you export information out now, like a gift to the anonymous record doesn't need a a tax statement, right? We don't know who that gift is from. We can make those decisions up front so that only the information flowing through the automation are instances where a letter does need to be generated. And it also has some checks and balances in there. So if someone's missing an address or an ad sal, it will send you a notification because those are just better solved by a human, right?
Yep. Well said. So it does all of that. And then the end result is, so right now, if you're doing mail merges and you're creating all of these, and God forbid, you're like typing in addresses on individual Word docs, which some people are still doing, this is the new world, right? So Austen, you run this automation, you built it out, and then the customer get what? They get an email that says this? Is that what we're
Yeah,
talking
so
about?
the groupings of letters are routed to the specific person that needs them, right? And so then they can take care of printing them out, signing them, and getting them out the door.
So they just, this is a hyperlink right here. They click on that, it opens up all the Word docs, and they can edit if they need to, they can
Yeah.
hit print.
And the magic part of it is basically you're just doing gift entry, and then the next morning you get an email that says all your letters are merged. So from like the user point of view, it's just magic in the background.
Can you set that? Like, can you say, I want to get every day, send me the batch, or like every Friday, send me the batch? Can you do
You
that?
can control any frequency you want, which is the
Awesome.
awesome part.
And you can do different letterhead, different signatures, different like copy in the letter, depending on where the gift went to.
Wild amounts of customization.
So there's people right now watching this that are like turning and looking at each other. They're like, did I just hear what I think I heard? Like they can really just automate that and then just serve me the end result. On top of that, you can deliver it in a bunch of different ways, right? So we shared the
Yes.
example of like the email link, but like you could also, so you can do email, right? And you
Yes,
can
so it can go out automatically, right, from a specified email address.
to the donor.
Yes, to the
Yep.
donor, and you can set thresholds on that. So if you say, a major gift level is $5,000 at your organization, and everything below can just, if they have an email, it just goes out automatically. We can do that. And then if someone sends in a $7,000 gift, then that's routed to the word mail process. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. You can send, okay, so you can do emails, you can do letters. Obviously, we talked about that. You can do both, right? You can do, I love it when a formal letter goes out, right? It's like, here, you put this in your folder for tax purposes, but also generate one of those heartfelt emails that we talked about. The person who, if they're in their portfolio, make sure you draft an email for their portfolio manager to also send to them. It's a wonderful touch. Why would you generate acknowledgments? What do you mean by like Excel and data? When would you use this?
We just have some clients that are dealing with insane volumes,
Yep.
right? So it would not make sense for them to print letters in-house and then mail them that way. It makes more sense to send those to a print house. So we're able to customize the data output into Excel to however your print house likes it best. Headers customized, whatever order the data needs to come out in. And then you can take that and send that directly off to your print house for them to take care of the sort of final step.
Incredible. So the bigger, is it fair to say the bigger your organization is, the more valuable this automation is to you, right? Like if you're dealing with tons of acknowledgments and just a volume of gifts, this is rapidly becoming not a nice to have, but like a must have. This is like you because
Yes.
nonprofits aren't adding headcount.
Your staff is better spent doing jobs that require their brain,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I'm going to prompt what I assume has already been asked 13 times in the Q&A. Do you know what you know what they're probably asking?
Yes, does it write back to the database?
And the answer is
Yes, it does, in whatever way you want. So the most common ways are marking the gifts as acknowledged, and adding an attachment to the gift record that points back to the specific letter on SharePoint, OneDrive, G Drive, what have you. We even have some people that attach the physical Word file to the gift record as well. And we can pretty much update the database however you need to according to your process.
just incredible. I mean, it's the longer you've been in Razor's Edge, the more nuts this seems, right? Like, oh my gosh, this is how the world should work, right? Like gifts come in, let me set the parameters and how the acknowledgments go, just build it, do it, some letters, some emails, and make sure to mark everybody's record once it's done. Like it is just bonkers what Austen and Stacy and the team have done. I'm not the only one that feels this way. I want to share a quote from a customer. This is Rachel, Northwest Kidney Centers. I think we wrapped this up for maybe a month ago. And Austen, how about that quote, right?
Yeah, it just like this is why I built all these automations, right? It's just to make people's lives a little bit easier and help them raise more money for their incredible missions.
Menke, you deal with more customers than anybody. Menke's kind of our point person. As everybody's thinking like, oh, what should I do and how should I build it? You go through Andrew Menke. Is Rachel the only one who said that they've cried about automation?
No, she is not the first, and she won't be the last. It's my favorite thing is especially going through the acknowledgments with our clients is telling them how it works, and they're like, am I hearing what you just said, that all of this is automated for? And I mean, it's just seeing their reactions are priceless, and I get it. I totally get it. Acknowledgments are a pain in the butt, and if we can take that process off of your hands and make it easier, I mean, it's a game changer.
Love it. It really is. That's why I say job satisfaction over here is very high at PSG. We love building automations.
Yeah.
Okay. So gift acknowledgement is a huge one. I know people have questions. We'll get to it. Stacy, let's do a sprint. So we've got a little bit of time here. We're about halfway through. Let's do a sprint through some really specific ones. So if you came to our BBCon this year, we talked about 6 new automations. Every year we roll out 6 new big automations. And I realized this year there's a lot of people that hadn't gone to the previous couple of years, so they missed like lots of really cool stuff. So let's highlight some things that people loved that are live right now. So tributes, honorariums, everybody's always talking about this. Why are people talking about this? And how does automation help?
So when you have a tribute gift, you typically send out 2 letters, one to the donor saying thank you for your gift in honor of Susie Q, and then you send 1 letter to Susie Q saying we got a gift from this guy in your honor. And those are 2 totally separate processes. In Razor's Edge, it takes kind of a lot of manual work. What we find most people do is they run both, and then they like manually collate the letters together so that they can be signed. What we have figured out, and by we I mean Austen, has figured out how to automate is if there's a tribute on a gift, we can just generate the letter right next to the thank you to the donor, and then the letter to Susie Q saying we got this gift in your honor, so that when you get your letters, it's all together. The acknowledgement letter for the donors there, the notification to the tribute is there, all together.
I'm not even gonna ask a question because there's people like it's a subset. So like 30% of the people on the call are like, that's incredible. I want that. I'm not even gonna bring it up. They just know it. So we don't even need to talk more about it. Tributes honorarium. We feel your pain. We've automated it. Database cleanup. There's such cool stuff that you guys have done here. Deceased records. I'm gonna go back and talk about VP understanding and like database administrator understanding. As a VP level fundraiser, you probably have no idea how hard it is to mark someone deceased in Razor's Edge, right? You probably assume, oh, I just told Stacy that so-and-so died. That should be a 2-second task for Stacy to update the database. And in reality, there's like 11 things you have to do inside the database, right?
Yep.
So what does automation do now?
So automation finds records that have been marked deceased, and then it does all the other stuff that you do to them. It adds and removes attributes, adds and removes solicit codes, checks inactive, inactivates all their email addresses, ends their solicitor assignments, make sure they're not getting any mail, all of these things that you're doing by hand right now, and it takes 3 minutes per person, right? So
this is, again, the bigger you are, the more valuable this is going to be to one of our favorite clients. They were early on in this, Nationwide Children's. They walk me through this. They have a ton. Most hospital foundations have a ton of deceased patients, right? That's kind of the nature of how it goes.
A huge database. So they did a deceased finder run and had all of these that they were verifying with obituaries and checking to make sure they weren't marking the wrong person deceased. And when they were doing it by hand, making all of those 25 different changes to the record one at a time, they got through 732 records per month, which is really a lot still, right? But once we automated it, all they had to do was find the obit and then check that deceased box, and automation did the rest of it. And they more than doubled their output getting through that massive pile of deceased records.
So this is a big deal. A lot of the CFOs and VP level that come to us for automation is this, because they can't add headcount, right? Like hopefully you can if you need it, but that's just the nature right now as nonprofits. We have to do more with less. That's our job. This is an area where if you can triple somebody's efficiency, right? Make their life 3 times better, that is a big win, right? For a fraction of the cost. Don't add another third of a person, use automation and make that person more effective. Graduation years, Austen, huge. The place went nuts when you talked about this 2 years ago. What did you do with graduation years and why did everybody go bonkers?
Well, it's just this massive headache for K-12 and higher ed orgs, keeping track of children and grandchildren graduation years and making sure that all the associated ad cells talk back to the same thing and are up to date. And it's just this massive export, manipulate in Excel, import back in. It's never right. You're trying to do it right before mailings,
Yeah.
right? And instead, the automation can just listen for when new education records are added to the system or when they're updated and just do a double check. Does the parents have the right, you know, P1113 listed in the ad cell? Do grandparents have the right thing, right? And
Yeah.
you just make sure that your addressee salutations are up to date 100% of the time at any given time.
A awesome use of automation. That is a grind to keep that up on your own. Set the rules. Let us build an automation to do it for you. That is a perfect use of it. Another one that people love, constituent code. So what are we talking about here? Where you can like change the hierarchy. What is this?
WebView has put the primary code, so the code that sits on top, at a huge importance within the dashboards and sort of native reporting. And so because of that, this has come more into focus than ever before. And so what this can do is we can look at the table, or you can set a hierarchy order. And then every time a new constituent is added or a new constituent code is added, we just do a double check to make sure that all the codes on any given constituent record are in the right order.
You set the hierarchy, and then the automation just always makes sure that we put it in that order.
Yes, and then it's just always right. And those are
Awesome.
the automations that I think I enjoy building the most, are the things that just make sure that the data is always right.
Rather than when it normally happens, which is 10 minutes before you have to send a mailing out the door, or you have an alumni event, or you have whatever, like, and you're cramming
Or
like
your boss asks you to pull that supposedly super simple report that takes you 3 hours, and then you realize halfway through that the primary codes you're basing everything off of are in the wrong order.
we've all been there. I love that. Okay, auto tagging your donor. So Knox College did something cool here. Is this Austen or Stacy?
This is Stacy.
All right, Stacy, what did they do?
So they are marking donors as members of giving societies. So every day this automation is running and checking new gifts and new records, and adding up how much people have given. And if they make another gift, then we're gonna add them to, the gold circle. And then we can keep updating that as gifts continue to come in. And if somebody like falls in or out, or if you have a separate something, we can kind of do whatever rules your organization has for what gifts to include and not include. So.
This is a huge deal. If you're, again, the larger you are, the bigger deal this is. Platinum Club, Gold Club, like President's Circle, the bishops, Mitre Society, whatever it might be. All that's being done manually every single year, like going back and pulling people in and taking them out. Like, it's nuts that this didn't already exist, right? That we had to build it. And I'm very proud that we built it, right? And it's wildly popular, but just that should be an automation that is always looking, how much have they given within this time period, mark them as member of this thing, right? That should not be a huge grind every time before you send out a mailing to your event or try and decide what to send to people. So this is cool. If this speaks to you, it's quick and efficient. Stacy does a heck of a job with this. Let's do something more complex, right? Syncing data. So if you're an organization and you use Razor's Edge, you know the pain of getting stuff in and out of it, right? And making and matching and deduping and all of that. Hospital foundations had this issue. Colleges, universities really have this issue, right? Because in a college university, you've got your database, but then admissions has theirs, and registrar has theirs, and you're always bringing stuff back in. Walk us through what's going on at the Field Museum.
So the Field Museum has a separate ticketing system from Razor's Edge, obviously, because Razor's Edge does not do ticketing.
Yep.
So every night, what they've been doing is they previously were exporting data from Acme Ticketing, and then squishing it around, and then importing it into Razor's Edge with a bunch of steps, right? So what they're doing now is we're actually using an API connection to grab the Acme ticketing data, and then we compare it to what's in Razor's Edge. So if a membership comes in that we can't find a match for, or a person that looks like in Razor's Edge, we'll just add them to Razor's Edge. And if we find somebody that looks like a match, then we'll give them to you in this review tile, where you can see what you have in Razor's Edge on the left, and then you can see what came in from the other system in the middle, and then you can decide what to update, if this person is a match or not, and it takes a couple of seconds and some scanning, and then once you click the match and update button, then the automation will update the address or add the new email address or whatever it is for you in the background. So it lets you look at things, and also it does a bunch of the work for you.
And it's right there. It's a tile inside of Razor's Edge, right? So instead of manipulating data in Excel like crazy and trying to hammer it all into the right spots, it serves it up. You click the stuff that's updating, and you're doing it live.
Yep.
That's crazy. How did that not exist before, Stacy Cope?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, tax statements. We're getting to that time of year. Austin is about to fake an internet outage and disappear so that we don't have to talk
Sorry,
about
I
this.
have to go.
So I always use this as an example. This is my grandpa, right? He's the guy that would call January 1st. He loved doing his taxes, right? So if you work in nonprofits, the phone starts ringing off the hook. January 1st, there are people that are like, yo, I gotta do my taxes, man. How much did I give? Like, they're just hammering you. They want to know. You don't need to worry about that anymore, because you can automate the process of sending out those tax letters. And in fact, they don't even need to be letters. You can send out, if you have an email on file, you can send out the tax receipt by email, right? So Austin, you've done a couple different versions, right? You can send them a version like on the left with like, here's all the gifts you made, like detailed out. You can send them the version on the right. That's a gift summary, just showing where stuff went to. That's the letter version. Can you email it, Austin? I know the answer. Of course you can. You can do it as a PDF. You can do it in the body of an email. I know what people are asking. Do you know what they're asking?
What?
Can you save that to the donor's record if you send something out like that?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can save it.
So that when they call you and they tell you they didn't get that email, you can just print it off directly from their record and send it their way.
This is a huge
Or
time
download it and attach it to a new email and send it to them that way.
Yes, this is a huge time saver, and this is a money saver, right? If you're again VP CFO style that got dragged to this automation thing, this is when your ears should perk up. Stop blasting all that mail out the door. If you have an email address on file, it is perfectly fine. Just send them an email with their tax. They would rather have it that way anyway, because they can actually then save it. They can print it out at home if they need to. It's a big deal. Okay, so that is a speed run through some of the automations that we're doing. This is your chance. You can tell us what you thought. Okay. We have the Q&A button, so we have a bunch of questions in there, and we're going to get to them in a second. But first, let us know what you think. Are you interested? Is this something that appeals to you? Do you want to know more? The way we work, just so that everybody knows, we're a small but mighty firm, and hopefully you can tell, we love what we do. Like we just do. So we know Razor's Edge inside and out. We're got brilliant people building automations. We've got popular stuff that we can talk to you about. You may have stuff that we've never thought of, and you want us to see if we can automate it. That's great. The way it all works is you're going to schedule a meeting with Mr. Menke. Mr. Menke is the busiest person on earth every year coming out of BBCon, because everybody hears about what other organizations are doing. Like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to you. So I'll put a code up. We can even drop into the chat where you can schedule a meeting. It is the least pressure meeting you'll ever have in your life. You can talk to Mr. Menke and you can say, here's what I was interested in. Tell me how it works. Talk about pricing, timing, right? When does it all go down? So let us know. And we can, here we go, schedule a call to discuss. And I have some good news, as we do every year. We got a special offer. So if you like something on here, and we already have a big list of folks and we are so proud of it, if you want the gift acknowledgments, right? Or if you want to set up those donor emails for your gift officers, do it soon, right? Do it before December 1st. We'll give you 20% off the setup fee, okay? Everything is very reasonably priced. The issue for us is always timing, right? There's a glut of people that want us to build these automations, and there's a finite supply of really brilliant people like Stacy and Austen who can build them. So just the sooner you get on board, the sooner we can plan out the work, the sooner we can get things turned around for you. So that is the link. It goes to the same places in the chat. Let us know. We will find time for you on the calendar. We will talk things through. If it's complicated, we'll bring in Stacy or Austen to the conversation, right, to see what's possible and how long things will take. It's just a whole lot of fun. So this is all we're doing from now through the end of the year, is talking to nonprofits, figuring out what they want built, building them out, and then we'll start taking on a bunch more clients then probably after the start of the year.
Also,
Okay.
one last point I want to make on this. So, some of you might not have funds in your budget right now. This year, you're thinking maybe 2026. You can still take advantage of this offer if you sign on. You don't have to pay now. You can pay when your
Yes.
budget's set for next year. But definitely worth, scheduling a call with me, going through this, what you need, and we can talk about that portion of, payment and all of that.
Yep. Well said. You will find us, and our current clients, feel free to chime in. You will find us to be the easiest vendor that you work with, right? We're just razor's edge nerds that love solving problems. And if we can solve a problem for you, we're going to figure it out. We're going to get you on the schedule. We'll get you taken care of. Okay. So let's get into Q&A. Stacy, is there anything on there that you want to start with? And other folks, feel free to chime in and type in your questions as we go here.
Yeah, can we just start at the top? So Carrie asked about the heartfelt emails. Are they emails the same each time, or do they use generative AI somehow for variability? So they are templated by you, so you get to write them. We do not use generative AI in them at this point, although we have talked about that, so that may be something we look into in the future. But for now, you can change the text of your email templates anytime you like. So if you want to change it every week because you want to say, oh, the tulips are blooming this week, or whatever it is, like, you can do that.
Yep. And I'd be curious too, and we should talk to our customer about this. I'm curious what people think. We can build in generative AI into that template, right? Like that's an easy thing. It's a wrapper, like, hey, make it more fun or exciting. I'm not sure if we need to do that because you already have it, you being the people watching this. You can use Copilot if you're using Outlook. If you're in Gmail, you can turn it on to where that draft is served up and you can then interact with it as like a finishing layer on your own. You don't need to pay us for an AI layer. You've got it, right? So maybe it's just a matter of you. I think that's probably where automation is going, is we serve it up on a platter for you, how you want it, triggered by the things that you know in your database. And if you want to do a finishing layer on AI, cool, you've already got it built into what your email system is. Now, if that doesn't work and we need to build it, we can certainly do so, but we're taking a sort of slow and steady approach here. We really like how this is working. Our customers like how it's working. So we were looking for more feedback on that as far as the AI stuff. Great question, Janice.
Janice is asking, are the emails tracked in Razor's Edge that they were sent and what was sent? Yes. So when we send you something that says email this person, here's a link. Typically we'll put an action into Razor's Edge. We can even mark it completed if you assume that all your gift officers are going to send out all the emails we send them with the template text. So, yep.
Well said. Question from Jessica. I like the nitty gritty nerd question. You're one of us. How does so Stacy, explain how it works. How does Power Automate work with Razor's Edge? What do you need? And then talk about what PSG does and everything else.
So Power Automate talks to Razor's Edge and all the other things in the world through it.
Power Automate is a Microsoft product.
Yes, Power Automate is a Microsoft plugin that basically can connect things that aren't normally connected. And it runs through the API, the application program interface, and it basically uses your user credentials in Razor's Edge to go to Razor's Edge and grab data, and then does whatever it wants to it and then sends it back. So if you, depending on, there's lots of ways to do it, but for our clients, typically they'll create a separate user that says, this is the automation user, right? So then if it says who added this action, you can say, oh, it was the automation, the Power Automate thing added it. So
Yep, well said. And Power Automate is like a Zapier, right? It's a tool, it's an automation tool. And so that folks know, when we started this, that's all we ever did was Power Automate connecting. We've since grown. So like when Menke was talking about the emails being drafted for you and changing templates, we've actually built our own software on top of this and through the API to make it even easier for you, so you don't need to get in there and monkey around too much with Power Automate. You can actually just edit things directly through an app that we've built. Some custom stuff we still get in there and just build it. We'll build it on your tenant, right? So a lot of people say, I want to learn these tools, but I don't really know where to start. Where to start is pick something you really want done, have Stacy or Austen or one of our team build it for you, and you watch and you follow along because it's built in your environment. And then you can take it from there, right? You can monitor it, you can learn, and you can build something else out. It's a big confidence boost. That's very popular, right, among larger nonprofits that want to kind of get in this world. Okay, Austen, what about you? Is there one you want to make sure we answer here?
Yes, so we had a question about like a bunch of the screenshots, our database view. How does that work? Well, The good news is Razor's Edge shares data amongst the two views, right? So we're able to use any data that is in your Razor's Edge instance. The screenshots are just there because not everyone lives in WebView yet.
Yep. Yep. Well said. Laura asked, can the decease process, so Stacy, this is your amazing click a decease button and it does the 11 things. Can it also drop active memberships?
So memberships are not yet in the API. So no, we cannot do memberships yet, sorry. But we can do some cool things with the spouse record. So we could flip them, right? So if you want to keep only one constituent record and keep a non-constituent spouse, we can just flip the names and all the other information. Or we could, yeah, turn that spouse record into a constituent record.
And when Stacy says it's not an API yet, that's not a PSG thing, that's a Blackbaud thing. Blackbaud, as soon as they make it available, we will have an access to get it, and then we can do it for you, right? So we're all just kind of following along here. Austen, question from Stephanie. Can we bring in donor data from Illuminate into RE?
Theoretically, yes. Illuminate has APIs. They're just set up a little bit differently because Illuminate was an acquired product by Blackbaud. It wasn't APIs that Blackbaud themselves built. But as long as something has APIs, we can usually figure it out and make something work for you.
Awesome. What about, so Damon asked, where can we understand more about constituent code hierarchy? Is that schedule a meeting with Menke?
Yeah, it's just something we built. You can build it off of webhooks or just as like an overnight thing that listens for changes and then runs basically an algorithm of conditional logic to say yes or no, this is in the right order.
Love it. Kev, and on all of these, if you want to talk more about any of them, use it. I think it's still on the screen. Scan the QR code, schedule a time with Mr. Menke. He'll talk things through with you on what things look like, how we can build it, how long it will take, etc. Susan asks, Susan, hi Susan, is the import review tile an adaptive card automation, Stacy?
Yes, it is.
If you know, you know. Ivy says, are there tools that you have that could be used for annual fund donors to provide personalized stewardship, but a one-to-many approach? Absolutely, that is exactly where we come at this automation. So think of this tool like AutomateGenius and like serving up those heartfelt emails as it solves the problem of major gift officers having to like look for the events that trigger the emails and see why they're emailing, and then also draft the email and send it out. Each one is personalized to the donor. They can customize it, serves it on a platter. It's not a bulk emailer, right? So like if you want to send out a newsletter of like generic stuff, like use Constant Contact, use NXT Mail, something like that. This is, I want personal, heartfelt stuff one-to-one from a gift officer or a VP or a president to a donor, but I want to serve it up in a really easy way. That's how you should use automation, right? Don't use this to replace a bulk emailer sending out thousands of emails. Use this to draft and prompt it in an easy way for people that don't live inside of NXT. That's a great question. Damon asks, once you implement a process, do you maintain or do you hand it off to the client? And if you hand it off, how does that all work? So the way we do this, again, I'll be shocked if we're not always the easiest vendor in the world for you to work with. We figure out what it is that'll be helpful for you. We will build it for you. So there's a setup fee, and then we'll monitor it throughout the year, right? By monitor it, things happen like Blackbaud changes their API connections and so everything breaks, or you have a new donor or a new email address, or somebody, there's just things that break along the chain. We monitor it, we fix it for you. If you can do that second part, great. We will hand it off to you and you can run with it on your own. We have a couple clients that can do that. We have a lot of clients that say, oh my gosh, I had no idea how much tweaking, goes on. So you guys just keep maintaining it for us. So it's entirely on you on how you want to handle it. We can do either one. Max asked a question, is it too much to ask for tips on building my own flow? That's the gray area that we get in trouble. Like, we're not built for training, right? So the good news is every time we learn something, we host webinars, we teach people what we know. Stacy and Austen are incredible about like showing everything, but we don't do one-on-one training. What we do is we free webinars galore, great ideas, help where we can, and then we build things. So if you want our help, it's usually we're building the automation for you, you're following along and learning from it. That's the best we can do. If you need one-on-one like consulting hourly, like there's probably people to do that, just ping us. We can probably connect you with folks that do that.
We have an important one at the bottom. Fashion question, where can we buy Nic's pullover? I don't know if you can buy that exact one, but that's a cutter and buck, right?
It's a cutter and buck. It's everything.
For comfy.
Well, thank you, Stacy. We have a lot. I can't tell you this individual one because I love it so much, but Cutter and Buck, big fan. I think it's called the Eco something something pullover. Menke, you got one in every color.
I do. Yes. Yep. And I know Andy Schrader, who's not with us today. He definitely has one in every color.
Did you see Andy at BBCon? He would match his Cutter and Buck
Shoes.
quarter zip to his shoes. He'd have
Yeah.
bright orange. He'd have bright green. It was awesome. We really love our swag at PSG. We spend a lot of time on it. Okay, let's wrap up there and give people a chance. So final thoughts. One, we appreciate you all so much. Thank you for coming. It was so great to meet many of you live at BBCon. I know you're back here today. You probably dragged your coworkers. You're like, oh my gosh, you got to attend this thing. Do not hesitate. We want to hear from you. Use that QR code. Schedule a time with Menke. Find out if there's just talk it through. Is there automation that we can do to help you, big, small, whatever it is? Do it early because the world is with you and that everybody is starting to build this stuff now. So schedule a time. We'll talk it through with you. We love working with Razor's Edge nerds like ourselves, so it's going to be a whole lot of fun. If you have questions, just ping us, and then we'll send out all of the notes and the recording and everything by tomorrow morning. If you don't see it, it's because it's in your spam folder, or because you're attending on somebody like forwarded you the link and it went to the person who actually registered. Okay. All our emails online. You can always find us, call us, anything you want. We love what we do. Thank you guys for supporting us. Stacy, Austen, thank you so much. Austen, have a wonderful time at the wedding. Mr. Menke, we'll see you later.